Welcome to another edition of Frank and Candid on this wet Monday morning. Hope you had a great weekend, all is well, and prepared for a productive week ahead. All right, let's see what's in the news. Something here coming out of the U.S. State Department have issued a warning against all travel to Haiti with a level 4. Do not travel to Haiti due to kidnapping, crime, civil unrest, and COVID-19 alert. In addition, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, issued a level 4 travel health notice for the country, indicating a very high level of COVID-19. In its summary, the State Department noted that, among other things, kidnapping is widespread and victims regularly include U.S. citizens. Kidnappers may use sophisticated planning or take advantage of unplanned opportunities, and even convoys have been attacked. Kidnapping cases often involve ransom negotiations, and U.S. citizens, victims have been physically harmed during kidnapping. Victims' families have paid thousands of dollars to rescue their family members. State Department has also warned that violent crime, such as armed robbery, and carjacking is common. So let's be careful. Okay. All right. It is a brand new week. And this morning, I want to touch on something that caught my attention while doing some reading over the last couple of days. And it has to do with our people, and let's be frank and candid, our hypocrisy when it comes to Caribbean intra-immigration. And when I say that, many times you listen to us as we talk about our Caribbean brothers and sisters. We talk of how much we love them and how much we're unified, or want to be unified as a Caribbean, and speak as one, with one voice. But yet, sometimes, when it's time to display that, the hypocrisy comes out, because what you get is the protectionism and the nationalism. There's a saying that when you point a finger at someone, there are 3 pointing back at you. What do I mean? In early January 2018, there was a discussion in the United States about what conditions they would employ or look at for the temporary protected status, the TPS. Some of you may have heard of that. For immigrants from El Salvador, Haiti, and Honduras. They were considering at that time, under the former President Donald Trump, whether or not to renew the TPS. As they discussed it, it deals with, first of all, an opportunity to forego deportation and allow these people to stay for a temporary period. It was about to expire, and so the discussion was ongoing as to how to, or should they renew it. And it involved many countries, but those closer to us, El Salvador, Haiti, Honduras. And so, as they discussed it with the President of the United States, then Donald Trump, he had no problems with immigrants per se, and people coming to the United States for different reasons. His problem was who they were. as is evidenced by a statement which he made, which said that he didn't want citizens from these S-hole countries to come to the U.S. Right? So, the TPS, as I said, grants persons leaving certain crises, specific countries. They have left for all kinds of reasons, persecution and other reasons, have entered the U.S. without permanent legal status and the right to be temporarily protected from prosecution on the basis of illegal residency is what the TPS is about. It also allows those persons to live and work in the U.S. legally for a limited time. Donald Trump didn't mind that for some countries, but for those other countries, he didn't want them because they're from those S-hole countries. Well, thankfully, the new Biden administration has reversed Trump's policy with a recent announcement extending the deportation protections and work permits for 54,000 Haitian immigrants living in the U.S. and temporary protected status also for some tens of thousands of other eligible Haitians to request the relief. Now, following Trump's statement, Caribbean people were up in arms. Understandably, social media in the region was ready to wage an online war of words against the racist remarks. However, the Caribbean and its people is really not the epitome of perfection when it comes to immigration. This region is fraught with its own immigration issues, most of which involve Caribbean people convulsing at the thought of other Caribbean people joining their society. So never mind Trump. I always said that's his country, and he was the president. He can say and do whatever he wants. Don't have to agree, but it's his country. But I am more concerned about what we do here in this region. Let me give you some examples. In 2017, when the worst hurricane season recorded ravaged the Caribbean neighbors, many nationals in Trinidad and Tobago protested the government's decision to offer the country as a place of refuge for the displaced Dominicans. Remember that? Dominica was hit hard in 2017. Brothers and sisters, Trinidad and Tobago protested. They didn't want them here. They were fighting a disaster. According to local newspaper, in early 2017, the Jamaican Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Minister then told the Jamaican Senate that 300 Jamaican nationals were deported from Trinidad and Tobago. And as at the end of the first quarter of 2016, more than 100 were denied entry into the country. Want more? In September 2017, the Dominican Republic expelled or refused entry to more than 9,000 Haitians. October 2017 saw the Prime Minister of the Bahamas threaten to deport tens of thousands of Haitians residing in that country. So, what do we call that? President Trump, Caribbean style? Similar to Trump's choice to blame immigrants for crime in the U.S., Caribbean governments have criminalized migrants from other Caribbean countries and deported them en masse because of claims that they were engaged in criminal activities. In 2017, the Jamaica Observer reported that several nationals, again, were detained during combined anti-crime exercise in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. The majority of migrants originate from the smaller member states of the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, the OECS. And their aim is to create a better life for themselves and contribute positively to their new homes. As such, criminalizing migrants is a convenient and a lazy political excuse for deportation, most of the times. The Caribbean needs improved migration policies and processes to encourage regularized migration for the region's citizens. The Caribbean should recognize this and deal with its immigration laws and own culture of nationalism and protectionism against other countries in the region. Brings me to CSME. Of particular interest is the role of CARICOM, the CSME, established in 1989 by the heads of government of CARICOM through a declaration. The CSME seeks to facilitate deeper relations among Caribbean countries, promote their integration process, and strengthen the Caribbean community in all its dimensions. Article 45 of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, that established and included the CSME, declares that member states commit themselves to the goal of the free movement of their nationals within the community. Yet, it clearly still has a long way to go in protecting all Caribbean people moving between Caribbean countries. Let me give you some more. You recall the popular case of one lady, Myrie. The court case Myrie versus Barbados, in which Jamaican Shanique Myrie was subject to cavity search, locked up in an unsanitary cell, and deported from Barbados in 2011. As a law-abiding citizen of a Caribbean country, Myrie was meant to be protected by the aforementioned Article 45. Instead, the treatment she endured at the hands of the Barbadian immigration officers ran contrary to the rules of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas. The Caribbean Court of Justice ruled that the state of Barbados breached her right of entry as a CARICOM national. November 19, 2013, 13 Jamaicans were denied entry into Trinidad and Tobago, detained and sent back to Jamaica on the first flight that Wednesday morning. According to reports they made to the media agencies there, their CARICOM passports were confiscated by the Trinidadian immigration officials. They were ordered to sit on a wooden bench throughout the night and allegedly told to sign a refusal of entry form or spend the night in jail. The implications of such treatment of Caribbean persons within the Caribbean go far beyond Miss Myrie and these other persons. It affects us all as CARICOM nationals. The actions or inactions of member states highlight the obstacles that need to be overcome if the Caribbean is to make progress to achieve genuine single market economy status. Let's go back to the Haitians for a minute. Despite Caribbean leaders and activists pointing out how Trump's statement was a perpetuation of the negative narrative over Haiti, the treatment of Haitians in this region has not been much different. Though Haiti is a member of CARICOM, Haitians still require a tourist visa to visit many of the islands. Citizens of other CARICOM countries, however, are free to travel through the Caribbean for up to 6 months, and in some cases, up to 6 months, visa-free. Haiti's relationship with their neighbor, the Dominican Republic, is one filled with racism, lots of prejudice there. This, however, did not prevent the Prime Minister of Jamaica then, whose country is also a full member of CARICOM, did not prevent him from conferring the Order of Merit to the President of the Dominican Republic back in 2017. It's reported by the Guyana News. This same president defended the rendering of thousands of Haitian descended and Dominican-born persons stateless, and he has done little to encourage free movement between his country and Haiti. Furthermore, the Dominican Republic is not a full member of CARICOM. They're trying to become. And CARICOM itself said nothing about it at the time. Caribbean people need to do some introspection, to regard itself as one Caribbean. Reluctance to engage in sustained programs to educate the public of the CSME is rooted in government's fear of dealing with free movement of people. So, until CARICOM countries boldly increase awareness and loosen the noose of immigration policies in the region, the tangible benefits of freedom of movement and intra-regional trade for the economic development of the countries will remain buried. And while we unify to condemn President Trump's vitriolic language, the question is, what are we doing to change the negative image we have of our own selves? Individually, Caribbean countries may be small island states, but together the region becomes stronger. So let's look at ourselves and how we treat people who we call our brothers and sisters in the region when they come to our country, and stop and think when we start thinking nationalism and protectionism. But people from other countries, we welcome them quickly. But one from our neighboring country, we say not here. That's my take this morning. 465-2555 is the local number. 718-577-2916 is the North American number, if that's more convenient for you. We will take a quick break, and when we come back, we will take your calls on the other side, and you can weigh in on your thoughts on anything I have said. Let's take a break.
Refresh and win $10,000 cash with Coca-Cola. Yes, you could be the lucky winner of $10,000 cash when you enjoy a 591 ml Coca-Cola Original Taste or 591 ml Sprite. Look under the special yellow cap to find your unique code. Promotion runs May 21st to August 13th. Terms and conditions apply. See press and in stores for details. Coca-Cola. Open for better. Please follow all COVID-19 protocols when redeeming prizes.
To avoid getting the coronavirus, remember to wash your hands thoroughly and frequently before and after preparing food, after using the toilet or changing a diaper for a baby, sick person, or the elderly, after blowing your nose, and after leaving large gatherings or moving away from persons who appear ill. Encourage others to wash their hands and also use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer of 60 to 70% solution. Stay away from events having large gatherings of people. You can expose yourself to more possible infections in large groups. Also, avoid sharing cutlery, cups, glassware, etc. with others. Viruses can linger on these items and may be transferred this way. Avoid shaking and holding hands, and hugging or keeping an infected person in close proximity. This is a message from the Ministry of Health and the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA.
This is my land, my island, our home. The climate has changed, it's becoming strange. We have to come together to keep her forever resilient and strong. We need slow stabilization, forest rehabilitation. Come together as a nation for drought and flood mitigation. Development with policies and plans. Let's change our ways, protect our lands. Get involved, every child, woman and man. Island resilience has got the plan. This is my land, my island, our home. It's time to come together to keep her forever resilient and strong.
Island and resilience, promoting a climate of change. The Climate Change Adaptation and Sustainable Land Management Initiative of the OECS Commission, funded by the European Union.
All right, welcome back to Frank and Candid. I am Tony Nias, and we are here on this wet Monday morning, and we are talking about Caribbean intra-migration and the question as to why people, our own people in this region, are quick to reject the people we call our brothers and sisters in a different conversation. Whether they come from Antigua, Dominica, Jamaica, Montserrat, wherever, we see them as foreigners. We are protective of our country, as we would say. We become nationalist. Yet sometimes we complain about how our people are treated when we go abroad to other countries outside of the region, and we detest that kind of behavior and that kind of treatment. But we are guilty of the same thing even within our own region. That's the question. Let's go to the phones and say good morning. Welcome to Frank and Ken.
Good morning, Mr. Nair.
Hey, good morning, Ken.
You know, you is so right in what you're saying. The way treat your own people around us, brothers and sisters on the different islands, is uncalled for. Just the other day in Guyana, and touched down there. I think he had on either 29 of them from Haiti, and they was put back on the plane. Said they don't have the proper papers. What they mean by the proper papers? Like where they staying or something like that. You know, but they put them back on the plane. You know, before they try and work out something with them. When you watch at Haiti with the crisis Haiti in, and the people them is running for help. It's help they want, you know. It's help they want. When I leave St. Kitts went to St. Thomas, the amount of boat and all kind of on the house and all kind of motor car I sleep in before I get myself organized together. You understand me? So my heart goes out to these people. My heart goes out to them. But another thing again, I think the immigration department, some of them, they work on their own belief. They don't go by the law. It's only when something turns out more than what they could show, then they realize that they was wrong. But a lot of them take people personally. They don't like certain people, and they just figure, well, I'm going to spite the country when they come in. It was if it's a woman and the woman was there with a man from them and they thing, and they're from such and such a country, they spite the country when a woman come in. And those are the things that goes on. And it is very bad for the Caribbean sector. Because if you look on our federation here is underpopulated. And when you watch at the underpopulation, things not turn over the way it's supposed to turn over. Because we are underpopulated. So that's our life. But I hope we come to some kind of agreement and do something to help other sisters and brothers in the region. Okay, you have continue your show.
Thank
yes,
you.
sir.
Thank you. All right, I hope so as well. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Nias.
Good morning.
Mr. Nias, I have some news that I want to throw out there for our people who are listening.
Okay.
And it's pertaining to the Queen of England. Now, what I've come across my platform is that the Queen has agreed to return 18 heads of the kings of Zimbabwe that was in their museum. She'd agreed to return these bronze heads of our ancestors that was taken back to South Africa. Now, for me, it is all well to return. And, you know, it's not just England alone who is returning. We have Germany have give Namibia $1.3 billion, which they rejected, and I'm happy that they did rejected it. And we have Emmanuel Macron, who have donated 1.7 billion to Rwanda. The chiefs on the continent of Africa don't agree with this figure, which is amount to $3 billion. Now that they're sending back these bronze heads of our ancestors to Zimbabwe, they have to come better than this. And here we are in the Caribbean, in the diaspora. I can't say it enough. We need to come together because pressure is on them. Pressure is on them to do the right thing, but we can't be gullible. We cannot be gullible with these figures. $3 billion, this is an insult. So we need to come together as a people and demand that they do the right thing. Because the king, Mr. Myers, we don't have one shot to fire. We don't have a shot to fire. That's why the continent of Africa was so easily being penetrated. We don't have any shot, and all that was by design. Because everything that they got out of Africa, they make all the weaponry and all the military power from what they got from Africa. We have nothing to fire, but guess what? What we have is our togetherness and nature. When we connect with our ancestors, nature will take care of our oppressors. Make no mistake about that. Because we have nothing to defend ourselves. We need to come together as a people, one voice. I mean, is it any wonder why Africa has 55 states and each state have its own currency, its own passport and all of that? Things are happening, Mr. Myers, and we need to get involved. We need to get involved. Mr. Myers, if I get back in, I'm going to come across with some platform that I want to put out there for our people, because if we remain plugged into this misery, things will not change. We need to now embrace our own culture, know who we are, know our story, and embrace it, and that is going to cripple the misery that we are into. Thank you for taking my call.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And I can piggyback on that call. I think it was about a month ago, a little over a month ago. There's a story about Germany along the same line. Germany agreed to return to Nigeria some priceless artifacts that were stolen during the colonization of Africa. Back in 1897, the British troops had looted some, thousands of artwork from known as the Benin bronzes from the Kingdom of Benin in present-day Nigeria. So all of that is happening. Back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome.
Yes, good morning, man.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, that caller there was talking about Africa. I guess he likes that topic very much, but I've been trying to follow him closely, man, to get that knowledge, But, yeah, in the Caribbean region, man, we need to display that unity, man. All we need is unity amongst our black people. And, I really don't appreciate and don't like the way how our Haitian brothers and sisters get treated by the rest of the Caribbean islands. And it's time that they try to treat these people right, man. Some of them just be seeking refuge for a better life. And, at some point, most of us migrate dead somewhere else to get a better life. And the treatment that we need and we want for ourselves, we should always display that to other people. You know, I mean, it's a lot to say here, but on this topic you threw out today, but the bottom line that I've been observing, man, is unity. We have lack of unity. If we could come together as a people, you know, we will have more strength, and you know that is what we need to really get through some of this stuff here. But we need that unity, man. And from as far as like the English crown and the royals there, they're under a lot of pressure right now, because once that young guy Harry made that move to move away from his royal duties, you know, the royals start coming under more pressure now. If their own can disembark from them, now is the time for we to put them under pressure, you know, and reparations is the way to go. We need our reparations. All right, thanks, man. That's my contribution.
All right, thank you. All right. Well, that is a problem for us. We need to look in ourselves because a caller before talked about how on a specific occasion where some members in the Caribbean were put back on a plane and sent back home. You know, it's funny how that happens more than in one place. But whenever one travels from a different destination, we kind of bend over backwards to accommodate if there's, well, as the caller put it, there's a mix-up in paperwork or some fault with the paperwork. But a lot of times we kind of bend over backwards to accommodate people in those situations. And here are people from within your own region that you call brothers and sisters, even without CARICOM. CARICOM is doing what it can. Part of the problem with CARICOM succeeding with that is the people themselves. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Nair. How are you?
I am well.
The problem is that we are mentally shackled. And the system is the cause of that. We are doing everything to keep our brothers and sisters down because that's what the system was designed to do. You see? For centuries and centuries, and we feel good too.
Oops, looked like we lost that caller there. But if you get yourself top up, you can give us a call back. All right. Yeah, but I understand where he was heading, and feel free to call back. That is, in the case of the Dominican Republic, terrible situation there. I mean, they treat the Haitians, you know, like, I can't even say like second-class citizens, but I don't know. But that same, the Dominican Republic wants to be a full member of the Caribbean community. Now, how do you square those two things? The Caribbean community, or CARICOM, is about a unified people for many different purposes, economics and otherwise. And you should not be able to do that and still find yourself membership within that institution. But anyway, let's go back to the phones. Good morning.
Mr. Noyos.
Yes, sir.
You consider the Virgin Islands, the Caribbean too? Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John?
Yeah, they're Caribbean people.
Including Tatola, remember they're black people. So them is our brothers and sisters too.
Yeah, but you know, they are
how much time they don't talk
about different.
How much time we got to line up to go in the country,
Yeah.
because we got to go with it.
Well,
the American them and all them kind of people they head on one thing. They could take they could take him driver's license and come to here and do all kind of things and so on and so on.
Yeah.
And we know we got to go Barbados. I remember they take it from Antigua and put it to Barbados, and now we got to spend a lot of money.
The St. Thomas,
So
St. Thomas government is in St. Thomas government is in Washington D.C. really. I mean, apart from the local government, they're ruled by somebody outside. So it's a little different.
We don't get a lot of people talking about us now. So you know, people when they come and call down people and don't want people to come here, like Haitian.
Yeah.
Remember what happened to our when we can't do what people do, say? They agree with that. But we don't went through a lot of things too, you know.
That's true.
Because when they was getting banned before they give visit.
Yep.
We never used to travel, but the amount of times I hear people come home here without clothes.
Yep.
With one swoop on the back. That wasn't good enough, you know.
No, not at all.
And right now you hear the Caribbean government can't even stand up to America when you got people leave from down a 5 years and rape the full whole of their lifetime. Do anything wrong, they say they could send them back. You understand? They could send them back, and the Caribbean, because they're sending out, they were sending out a plane load of people from in England back to Jamaica, you know?
Yeah.
And they were saying that don't let them land here in Jamaica, and they were saying they shouldn't. Somebody in England, I think they're from Jamaica too, was going against it. But if they ain't going to land in Jamaica, where they going to land? Think it? Right? The whole program thing that go on, you know? All right, man. Okay, the best.
All right.
Okay.
Take care. Yeah. As the caller said, we get some harsh treatment. We have had some harsh treatment. Our people going to different parts of the world to better ourselves. All the more reason why we should, cling together. I mean, treat each other better, in the same region. I mean, that shouldn't be too hard since we have the history. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning.
Hey, Tony.
Yes.
I want to ask a question. You know, Megan, the American young girl to get the kid for Prince Harry. Yeah. I want to know if they ask if the little girl was born on Friday, if she black. I want to know if they ask that question. If the royal family asks if she black, like how they do with the first boy child. I want to know if they ask that question again when Harry Guido. If the child is a black child again. Disrespectful. Have a good day.
Yep. Okay. Have a good day. All right. All questions. Well, they say once there's a spot of black, you're black. They don't want no stain. Back to the phones. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
I want to say something what the caller before Jamdong say. A lot of wrong things really going on because when anybody from the Caribbean overseas and they do a crime and they go to prison, they deport them back home. And I want to know why when they in St. Kitts and they do a crime and they go to jail, why they don't deport them. They just hotting up the place. It's more crime they're going to do. So people need to look into all of that. And when they're married to a citizen and leave the citizen and go on with their own, they also need to work out that too. Because a young lady tell me one of them married to her from Santo Domingo and they live together, got child together. Soon as they get his papers, they leave her and went with one of their own. This is what they really have to look into, okay? I don't think that thing is supposed to become no hotspot now for nobody. And anyhow they get deported from England, they don't end up in St. Kitts. I don't know why. Bye.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning.
Yeah, Nayas,
yes.
The situation in England.
Mm-hmm.
What England do, they spent $27 million to build a jail in Jamaica.
That's right, yes.
To hold Jamaicans there, right? So what they do, instead of they keeping them in England, they send them down to Jamaica and they do the time in Jamaica, in the jail down there. And after that you stay there.
Mm-hmm.
You understand me? But now, when you come to the past, with the ones them who getting married here in the Federation, some of them are taking peanuts to be married to these people. When you take you go married for $100 and $200, $1,000, and when the money done, that's it. You get nothing else. He gonna look for one he want woman now to marry to and collect more money and that from her. Why he paid to marry to the one from St. Kitts? He collect 10 times as much to marry to his own to keep them here. You understand me? So what you buy, you will. You know, so it's happening. Another thing when they're saying that, well, we used to go St. Thomas without visit, but a lot of us spoil it. A lot of us spoil it. I never get in no trouble down there, but then other people come and get in trouble, so they round up everybody between the house and immigration come to go in with everybody. So that's the how they go. They go, you know. So we wish everybody the best of luck. Okay, brother.
All right. Okay. Good morning. Go ahead, you're live.
Yes, good morning. I just wanted to get back in and throw a point out that's kind of off topic that I was concerned about, and it's the fact about a person that was born in the Federation and who has acquired nationality or naturalized citizenship in another country and cannot come back to make a contribution in the Federation as a politician. I know you said one time you was going to try to entertain this topic. I don't know if that's a possibility going forward. Because I recently, gained that knowledge, and me personally, I totally disagree with that, because someone who's a natural born person inside of St. Kitts and Nevis, whether they have a foreign passport or not, I believe that they should gain access to contributing to their own society. You can't tell a U.S. person, U.S. citizen, that they can't, contribute politically to their country. And furthermore, someone who acquires citizenship in St. Kitts and Nevis, whether it's via a mother or a family member who is there, or whether they come into the Federation and marries to somebody and get their documents that way, that person at the present setup has more rights to come into St. Kitts and Nevis and contribute and be a politician there than a person who's a natural born person. Is there any way you could, shed some light on this topic to your listeners, or, I'm just trying to get some more knowledge as to how this became about, and if the government is interested in changing that at all, because to me, it's kind of unfair that a person who is born in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and they can't come back home, a person who's interested in coming back to, contribute to his society, they can't get that done because of that in the Constitution or whatever. Is there any way you can shed some light on that for me, please, sir? Thanks.
Okay. Well, actually, we dealt with that topic before here on this program, that exact topic. But we could raise it again sometime going forward. But yeah, I take your point. We did ventilate a lot of that. It's a lot of the same things you talked about with respect to that particular issue. And I guess it will form part of constitutional reform if we ever get there someday. It's just one component of a long list of things that we talked about that may need to have some consultation and discuss and possibly change. Back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome.
Yes, Mr. Nias, this is me again.
Okay.
I understand that a gentleman called in after and say he want to get in contact with the news feed that I am getting from. But if he can give out his number, if he get back in and he can give out his number, that would be great, because I would be happy to link up. But let me just throw things out there where he can go on YouTube and find out what is happening. Now, there's platform. I'm going to throw out 4 platforms that anyone who hearing my voice right now want to know what is happening on the continent of Africa, things that you won't see on CNN and BBC. We have Wake Up Africa, Make Africa Great, Pan-African Daily TV, AIDO Network International. That's AIDO Network International. But for the gentleman who want to, he can go to this platform on YouTube or Facebook, and he can scroll down and select any topic of his own interest. But there are things happening that we in the diaspora won't be seeing, positive things, because this is our time, Mr. Nyers. As above, so is below. We don't have any shots to fire. Our unity is our strength, and nature is going to do what it has to do with our oppressors. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Back to the phones. Good morning. Good morning, caller. You're live. Yes,
what Rockefeller say about the immigration, it might be true. But even though you're a citizen now, you got a green card, something I can't do, they deport you. And a fellow who I'm saying it right now, he's a handicap, and he was living in the Virgin Islands. He in a wheelchair, and he tell me somebody went to rob him, and he stabbed them up, and they deport him. He home right now, he live up Pants Basket, but he don't call his name. And with them married now, what they need to do, if they find these people married in for nothing and give these people citizenship, they need to monitor them, because in the Virgin Islands, what they do, they ask you how long you're with this person. Sometimes you have to keep pictures together if you live together, and they monitor you for 2 years before they give you any marriage certificate. You have to live with the person for 2 years, and if anything go wrong between the 2 years, you don't get no certificate, and they send you back home. The person could go and put immigration on you, and they deport you back. So that they don't have to monitor it, because this thing is not right. But they're just going around and paying people $50 a drink around for marriage, and then what? It's not fair. I think that is really, really flatness and ridiculous. And when they go to the court, they need to question these people. They need to do that, because that means saying we need some really, really rule. And it's not you against somebody, but that is how you see people come in and feel like think it is so easy and want to do as they like. And we have to prove to them that is not. So we have rule and regulation, so you have to live by too. And that's what I have to say.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Wow. $50. Drink a rum. Get married. Whoa. Okay. We're going back to the phones and say good morning.
Yes, no, nice. You hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm back. I was saying I support Jacqueline and John Paul. And I will always say, carry from how you here, means you have found on one hand too much needy institutions out there in them countries here. I say carry from hand over here. As compared to too much foreign national from them countries here. You can start counting. And me and nobody can tell about St. Thomas and St. Croix and parents when you're long and it's stupidness. We're talking about CARICOM and OECS. Why the flocking here? Something sweet about here.
Well, we know that.
And this is why I say it already, you know. The government in them other countries encouraging them to come here because we're doing a lot better than them. And we accepting them like here's a dumping ground. That's all I have to say.
Okay. All right. Well, see, call them foreigners already. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
This is one of the first times I've heard such a wonderful program.
Okay.
I'm in my 70s. Born in Aruba by a British mother from St. Kitts and a British father from St. Vincent. My second passport was given to me by Bacha, Honorable Mr. Bacha. Now, we talk about Caribbean unity, but we are not hearing politicians, elected politicians, talking about Caribbean unity. Now, when you travel to Tortola, they have laws that protects their people's land. You can't go to Tola and marry no woman, get no papers, get no land for under 20-something years. Our politicians, they are not protecting us. They are not giving us material. No, they are not making books accessible to our people. You have children here. We are the most educated in the Caribbean. 15, 10, 12, CXC, GCE, and these things. As Jamaica, would walk into a library and see what you find. You can't find Rodney. You can't find Podmore. You can't find Nkrumah. You can't find Eric Williams and other black philosophers who will educate us on our history in the Caribbean. I learned what I learned when I left here at 17 to New York. You understand? Mm-hmm. Now, we talk about reparations. You're not hearing the people who are supposed to push reparations, speak of reparations, because they are not giving us reparations in our own country. A foreigner can come to St. Kitts, own our land that we paid for. Government don't have money. It's we the people money that paid white people who enslaved us on these lands for lands that is not theirs. So that means we don't know our own history. No, Haiti is what made us free people. Haiti, my great-grandfather brought his family to Statia and then to Sandy Point. You understand? Our people don't know their history. St. Vincent, the same thing. I lived in Jamaica for some time, Trinidad for some time. Very few, not even 1% of the people understand their ancestors' historical journey to freedom. And think it's one of the forerunners of enslavement. You understand? They don't care about our people. Our people are the most unconscious set of people you can find. They think they're from New York. They go to New York today and they're talking like a Yankee. They come back in 1 week, you don't know where they come from. So all I'm saying is, people cannot be conscious if the political powers don't make the road for them to be conscious. You see where I'm coming from? When you sit down and talk to people, they don't know because they have no access to materials to read. And yet, they can sit down and tell you about England, Animal Farm, and some of the best mathematicians you could find. You understand? We have brilliant people, but only brilliant to manage the European administrations that they left behind. Now, our lands here, government took control of our lands. I'm not talking about present government, you know, because I give credit to Mr. Harris. I'm telling you the truth. And I'm a man from labor. You understand? But governments from step back, forget about Bacha. Bacha did what he could do from his limited here in Southern and France. You understand? When they went to Trinidad to create the federation and they went there to work, not create the federation, was already signed. And if you look at this whole thing, technically we are a federated nation. But we go back now to knowing the history of the United States of America, England and France. They are the ones that pull the strings here. The Monroe Doctrine, which I doubt very few Christians knows about this. Tie the hands of our politicians. You understand? America controls this region. They determine who gets elected and who don't get elected.
Let's take one more call and thanks for your input there before we go.
Okay.
We got a caller there. You can take this final one. Caller, you're final. Go ahead.
morning.
Good morning. I am well.
How was the weekend?
Very good, very good. You?
That the gentleman make a distinction because the way how he talking, he like this government doing everything. But anyway, this would have been my topic this morning, but I went out and I just come back. But Jacqueline and the others say they were very right because we had an immigration and the program talking about people married in and overstay and all them kind of thing. And she ain't come back to say nothing. So these could come in as they like. And that's not fair. Jacqueline, when you're ready for you and your children come, not space gone there. And I'm glad how the foreigners thinking that the petition ain't going to kill them out because they're putting on their masks. Okay, thank you.
All right. And thank you for all of that. All your comments, all your suggestions. We will be back tomorrow, if it is to be, with much more topics right here on Frank and Candid. My name is Tony Nias. Have a great day.